Yes, I was, yeah.
And can you tell us your story and why you decided to make a positive of it now?
Yeah, so basically from a very young age, all I really remember is my father being a drinker. Whilst I never actually saw him drinking a lot, he kept that very secret, which is really common with people with an addiction. They've got a lot of shame around it. So living with somebody that's got an addiction, as a parent, I felt that it created a big sense of loss for me. I had a lot of loneliness. I felt a massive disconnection with my father because he was so absent. He'd often sit in his car drinking and isolating himself from the family. He wouldn't very often sit with us and eat dinner, and so it wasn't a family occasion. And so I found it really hard to have any sort of relationship with him. But I'd always anticipate, that, and have this amount of hope that something would change, and he'd come home from work and be pleased to see me and offer me that support and love and everything that I needed. But it never really happened because his addiction was always his priority.
And then Jo,
and he drank because...
No, please go on. Sorry, go on.
And he drank, I think, as a lot of people do. Sometimes it starts off because they need to, numb feelings, or they want to feel a certain way. And I think that that's probably the case for my dad. And, it was really sad towards the end. And it was a very difficult life living with somebody that is always focusing on alcohol rather than their children.
And Jo, in that respect, you grew up without that support. And this report today saying that 37% of child deaths and serious injuries through neglect are linked to parental drinking, which implies the services and the focus for the children in those situations simply aren't there. Is that something that you agree with?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, I think that it's very difficult to know exact numbers of this sort of thing because in that environment you're taught not to speak, you don't trust anybody outside the family, you don't talk about it to anybody. And if you do experience, a form of abuse of some sort, it doesn't necessarily always get to an A&E department or a GP surgery. So, but certainly if you have got parents that are drinking to the extent where they're not able to be a parent and look after you, then certainly accidents can happen. I've certainly spoken to people that have experienced that, and the children have had accidents because the parents have been intoxicated.
Jo, just quickly, is there a service that the children themselves can try, a number they can call, perhaps, at the moment?
Yeah. I volunteer for an organisation called NACOA, and they've been doing fantastic work with government, and last year they started a manifesto for children of alcoholics, so children can ring their helpline to get support and talk to anybody, any one of the trained counsellors on the phones, so that they know that they're not alone, basically.
Jo, thank you. Really appreciate you speaking to us this morning.
That's okay, you're welcome.
Still to come on Sunrise, we'll speak.
So she
And don't know.